Welcome to Mission Imperfect, the podcast about navigating the twists and turns of life and embracing the imperfections of the journey.
We're your hosts, life coaches Catherine and Kirsty, and our mission is to support you in finding your own path, your own way, with greater clarity and self trust, no matter how messy or uncertain things may seem.
We address the roadblocks that come up time and time again for our coaching clients, from acceptance and boundaries to values and well-being and everything in between.
As well as asking lots of questions, a coach's favourite thing to do, we'll be sharing thoughts and insights and offering plenty of tips, tools, and techniques for you to try.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to grab a cuppa and a biscuit and join us in getting lost in finding ourselves. Hello and welcome to this week's Mission Imperfect. Well, if you've ever listened to one of our episodes, which we very much hope you have, then you may have noticed that there is one thing that we can both agree on and be very enthusiastic and passionate about, almost as much as we are about coaching. Possibly sometimes a bit more, who can tell? And that is, drum roll please, biscuits. You may be aware
Very important
we have
subject.
mentioned them. Yes, they've cropped up once or twice, quite subtly and discreetly. But yes, biscuits.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we are definitely in favour of both coaching and biscuits. We've determined that actually they are both good for you, both enhance your well-being, give us a boost, help us make us feel better. So all good things. Although I suppose we have to caveat biscuits in moderation. I think we have to say that.
to be honest, coaching should probably be in moderation too. You wouldn't
Yeah,
want to spend the whole time being coached.
no, that it would be very
You wouldn't get
tiring for
you wouldn't get
one.
anything
Yeah,
done if you were
yeah,
just being coached all the time. Nothing would
yeah,
actually happen. So yes,
that's true.
both.
Yeah,
I'm not
both in
I'm not
moderation.
entirely convinced about the biscuits in moderation, but okay, well, we'll go with it for now.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the thing. Biscuits are just great, aren't they? Let's be honest. And the slightly bad news is, and that is because they have this delightful combination of sugar and fat, which
Mm.
I know, sadly, separately, not so great. Somehow you put them together and they're delicious.
Oh yes.
It's something that you can easily just
Is,
slip down the rabbit
is
hole and eat several.
is anybody else salivating very slightly? I'm glad you can't see us because I might find myself starting to dribble in a minute. Sorry about that.
Yes.
And the image, but yeah, my bad.
The thing is, the other good thing about biscuits is at least there is also crunch. You know, it's not just a mush. You know, if you have something like a mini roll, also delicious, also the fat and sugar combination,
Mm.
but you bite it and it just kind of vanishes. So you've eaten it before you've even registered eating it. And I think that doesn't happen at least quite so easily. I mean, there is a range of biscuit firmness we can go into as well.
You
But
have to take this very seriously. I was just thinking that the mini roll does have that little bit of crunch with the chocolate outside. Although I did have a
yeah,
disappointing experience with mini rolls. They've got caramel ones now, and I was really excited to try them, and they were not very inspiring. It was a
oh,
huge
well, that is
disappointment,
disappointing.
frankly. Yeah,
Do you think on the
yeah.
whole biscuits are less disappointing? You know what you're getting yourself in for with a biscuit?
I think so. Until they start messing around with them, I'm never quite sure about them trying different flavour of Jaffa cake or something. And you're thinking,
Yes,
why?
this is
Why?
true. To be honest, for me, Jaffa cake is in the category of not good biscuits, full stop. It doesn't matter whether you made it orangey, raspberry, whatever, bleh. That for me, I'm afraid, is a category of not good biscuit.
Well, I mean, I have to disagree very strongly on that subject. I mean, we're not even going to touch on are they actually biscuit. For the purposes of this episode of Jaffa Cake is absolutely a biscuit, but I can see
Yes,
why it wouldn't meet your crunch test.
yes. As I said, there are different textures of biscuits, and then
Yeah.
it is very possible for some in particular you can eat three and still think it was the first one. That's also a bit of a problem. You want to know how many you've eaten, really. Well,
Well,
or maybe you don't actually. Maybe it's a good thing not to know how many you've had.
no, I never want to know how many I've had. I'd rather not
No,
think about it.
that's fair enough. Okay, so is there a downside of biscuits? Let's be honest. Let's just get a little bit out the way here. So we mentioned, okay, granted they're not necessarily full of the most nutritious things, but in balance, I think they can feature as part of your healthy balanced diet. Have some other good stuff on the side. But let's talk about the other things.
Sorry,
Shrinkflation. What is
bis-
going on here?
sorry, sorry to interrupt. I'm just completely distracted by having good things on the side. I've now got a vision of a plate of biscuits with a bit of lettuce.
I mean, in a proper,
Is that probably not
logical
what you
order.
meant?
No, I meant,
Oh,
make sure
okay.
have you. basically for dinner, plate of biscuits probably isn't the answer, but
Oh,
maybe a sensible dinner and then the biscuit is a nice treat to finish.
okay.
That I think
So not
perfectly
biscuits
good.
and lettuce. That's not what we mean.
No,
I'm sorry.
biscuits, lettuce, and broccoli. No, not a good idea.
We
Yes,
I
shrinkflation.
interrupted you on shrinkflation.
I know. What is going on here, Kirsty? I mean, I
I
know it's not
know.
just
I know.
biscuits, but I feel
Shocking.
like they are really getting a raw deal here. We get fewer biscuits or smaller biscuits. And as
Yes.
far as I'm concerned, neither of those is good news.
No, it's outrageous.
Yeah,
I feel we're being
mm,
conned.
definitely.
It's
And I
an
tell you
abuse
what,
of our human rights.
it is, because what's really annoying is I notice this. They try and keep the packet the same size, and it's either filled with air at the ends instead of biscuit, or extra bits of packaging. And there's one in particular, I don't know if I should name and shame the
Name
brand,
and
but
shame. Yes, do it.
well, they come in a nice cardboard box, and you used to get a
Mm.
nice stack of three, so you'd get 9 biscuits. Now, in my household, there are 3 of us. This is perfect rationing. You
Yeah.
each get a stack, and once you've had your stack, that's your hard luck. No more for you in that packet. Now, box looks the same, and the packaging has been changed, so each biscuit slopes on top of the other, and there are now only 8 in the packet. This does not divide by the 3 of us in our household. This is therefore a travesty. I know.
That's awful.
A whole, yeah, that's a considerable percentage drop, isn't it, from 9 to 8? I'm not happy about this.
Yes. No, I think I can see a solution. If I was in your position, what I'd be doing was squirreling away the extra two and telling the others that there were two each.
You each, yeah, yeah. I think that's the only thing I can do.
Hmm.
Yeah, fair dues. But I would have overall, would have preferred the bigger packet. And also,
Yes, definitely.
this is a new thing which I'm not in favour of: chocolate flavour coating.
Oh, don't just
What's
don't.
on earth?
No,
Yeah, don't even.
wrong.
Just use actual chocolate, you cheapskate, rip off merchants. It's all I've
Yes,
got to say on that. I do not want chocolate flavour stuff because that just means inadequate nonsense. Just put the actual
yes.
chocolate on and yeah, stop charging us through the roof for it. And there we go. And the only other thing on the downside of biscuits I think we can say is eating a whole packet in one go is generally frowned upon.
Hang on. What?
I know we
What?
find this.
By
I know.
whom? By whom? Name and shame. Who is this frowned
I
upon by?
know.
By
Well,
whom is this frowned upon? Whatever. Prepositions all
yes,
over the place.
I know. I guess I know that's because of our indignation, but I suppose deep down we know they're probably not the healthiest food for us. So yeah, hence the in moderation bit. But let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about actual biscuits. So we're going to talk about what we think are inferior and superior biscuits. This is highly subjective and just according to us. And to be honest, I have an answer. Oh, there are exceptions to the rule, hence the Jaffa cake. But for me, a chocolate covered biscuit is a superior biscuit. And that's pretty much the beginning and the end of what I have to say on that.
Ooh. Now, I am probably 99% with you on that,
Oh,
but
okay.
I mean,
That's higher than I thought.
yeah, I have a major exception
Do you go
to
on?
that, which is the custard cream.
Deep breath, explain.
The custard cream is just a superlative biscuit. End of.
Yes, yeah, so I'm not with you on this one. I think so for me in the league table of biscuits, you've got your chocolate covered ones at the top. And to be honest, I'm talking about ones where there's actually more chocolate than biscuit. That's even better if you ask
Oh
me.
yeah.
That yeah, chocolate all the way round, nice and thick. Not some stingy, it's just wafted in the direction of chocolate. I want a nice solid layer. So
The Fox's
that's my top.
chocolatey rounds, they are
Yes, that is a
an
very superior
excellent
biscuit, I grant
example.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
And then for me, you've got what I would call quite sad biscuits. Like, kind of, if I'm being completely honest, why would you bother biscuit? Things like a nice biscuit. Why they called it nice, I don't know. It's not really a nice biscuit. It's a
Maybe
pointless
it's a nice
biscuit.
biscuit. Is it a nice biscuit
Oh,
or a
is
nice
it nice
biscuit?
or nice?
I've no
Well,
idea.
whatever. It looks like the word nice, and I'm
It
just going
does,
to
doesn't it?
say it's not that nice. It's a bit boring, to be honest with you.
But
Plain
they
rich
they
teas.
they have all those nice or nice biscuits. They have all that
Yeah,
sugary crunchiness going on.
yeah, I grant you that I like the sugary crunchiness is okay, but it's still slightly pointless. Okay, I'll put that higher than the plain rich tea. That, to be honest with you, is like slightly sweet cardboard. And
Yeah.
controversially, Kirsty, I'm even going to say a plain digestive is actually just a bit dull.
Ah, I
Sorry.
I'm not sure we can be friends anymore. I'm I am quite a fan of the plain digestive, especially when well, actually, if I can't dunk it in anything, I probably wouldn't bother. But if I have a cup of black coffee
Ah,
to
okay.
hand, I very much enjoy the combination of a plain digestive in black coffee. And I really discovered plain digestives when a few years back, probably this will come as no surprise to anyone listening to me talk about biscuits. I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, so I had to change my eating habits. As a result of which I probably don't eat nearly as many biscuits as people might think I do. But it turns out that digestives are very much at the lower end of the scale when it comes to sugar content, especially compared to my favourite, the custard cream. So I so that I could still have that routine of a little bit of a treat with a cup of tea or coffee, I switched to those and
Hmm.
discovered that they are extremely good dunked in black coffee. So I will defend the plain digestive to my dying breath as long as I got a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Rich
All
teas,
right. No,
I'll grant you. Rich teas, I've got this kind of nostalgic fondness because my maternal grandparents always had rich teas and pink wafer biscuits.
so
So
about
they
that.
inspire that fondness, but I probably wouldn't choose one to eat, frankly.
No.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can't have an episode about biscuits without mentioning pink wafers. I think
Mm.
they are a very divisive biscuit. And I'll be honest, I don't really know what to make of them. And I don't think you really see them on offer much anymore. They're something you might buy for nostalgia, I think. And for me, they're a little bit like party rings. They're both very, very sort of sweet, quite artificial tasting, and yet somehow they're still a little bit satisfying in their slight strange uniqueness. I mean, if you're going to waft them in front of me, I'm probably going to dive in. But if there was a plate next
Mm.
door with chocolatey rounds on, you know,
Oh, no
definitely heading there
competition.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I could probably say no to a party ring quite easily, but a pink wafer I would go for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to sum, I think for both of us then, our absolute top biscuit for me it is the vastly superior, and I will defend this. It is a dark chocolate digestive, absolutely. And the only way I think you could improve it is if the chocolate went the whole way round, so it's underneath as well. But then I do have a slight caveat to that because I really don't want it to melt on my fingers. So I think I will accept that they are perfect as they are, but don't mess around with them. If you change it to chocolate flavor coating, we're going to fall
No,
out.
just don't. Yes.
Yeah, just don't basically. And then I also have a top fancy biscuit. I mean, that's not my everyday go to king of biscuits, sturdy choice.
Mm.
But if we're going to go for a fancy biscuit, I do like a Borders dark chocolate ginger biscuit. The chocolate does go the whole way around. I'm just going to notice on that one. Or their chocolate orange biscuit. That
Oh.
is a thing of joy, a very substantial biscuit. So those are my king of biscuits.
Do you know,
Kirsty,
I've
tell us
not.
about yours.
I'm just getting a little bit hung up on the idea of the chocolate orange biscuit, to be honest. I've not tried that. Maybe I need to go and look for those. Ginger, nah, it doesn't do it for me. But yeah, the chocolate orange is sounding quite appealing. Okay, my
It's
king of
nice.
biscuits, in case you had not guessed, is the custard cream or possibly the chocolate digestive. Although I'm a bit old school, I would normally go for the just the standard milk chocolate digestive. But I agree, not having chocolate all the way around means that it's much easier to sort of keep hold of it without getting covered in chocolate. And as I
Yeah, true.
like the digestive bit as well as the chocolate bit, it's a win-win. In terms of posh biscuit, I don't really do a lot of posh biscuits. Maybe this is something I need to try. But the only as posh as it got for me was the Fox's chocolatey rounds. That's my idea of
Yes.
posh, mainly because there are so few in the packet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is the thing. We're going to talk about this as well. The number of biscuits you get in a packet is sad.
Yeah.
Sad times. The fancier the biscuit, the fewer you get. So it's definitely a trade-off. But we're going to come on to that. Don't want to skip ahead too much because I think we've started to talk about something else, which I think we must cover, and that's dunking or no dunking. Because this is also a very controversial point, isn't it? And I think
Mm.
you can't just rush to a yes or no on this question, can you?
No, you definitely need to take some time. You need to pause. You need to bring a little bit of awareness into
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
coaching. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It depends, doesn't it? I guess the biscuit,
The
the
beverage,
beverage. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mood.
Exactly. And I'm with you on that one. Although I have to be honest, I'm definitely a creature of habit. So my view is dunking can be done,
Yes.
but when you do it, it's got to be done in a controlled, non-drippy, and definitely no biscuit dreg detritus fashion. If it plops off into your tea or you have a pile of sludge at the
Oh,
bottom, You are an amateur dunker and you must cease until you learn how to dunk properly. Because then, if you've done that, you've sacrificed not only biscuit, you've also sacrificed the tea. It's an all over disaster. So I think you can dunk a chocolate biscuit. I'm going to say it. And I actually quite like it. You've got to do it carefully. And I think I do dunk my dark chocolate digestive. I like the melty bit of chocolate, but you must eat up to the full melty line before you go back for a redunk on part two. But yeah, I've got a technique, Kirsty, and I think this is my technique for eating a dark chocolate
No,
digestive. Oh, you're
just,
shaking your
just,
head.
just no, no. Hard no on dunking chocolate covered biscuits. We do not want to lose chocolate off the biscuit. And we definitely do not want chocolate in tea. I mean, chocolate tea is not and should never be a thing. Now, it's rare that I say chocolate and should not be combined with something, but
Yeah.
chocolate tea, no. Keep the chocolate separate from the tea.
Okay.
That's
I
it.
hear you,
I'm done.
but this is where
No buts.
you've got to reach
Just
professional
no,
dunk status. No, sorry, Kirsty, I'm
no.
going to disagree because my dunking, my tea does not end up with chocolate in it. I'm very particular about that. I do agree with you. You don't want doctored drinks, really. You've just got to do it. It's the timing of the dunk has got to be enough just to give you a little bit of melt, a little bit of softness on the biscuit, not puree and not with bits floating in the tea. So you say, I think, and I know we disagree on this, you don't dunk cream or custard, filled biscuits. For me, that's a
What?
no because you definitely don't want cream leakage and you most definitely don't want jam leakage. Yuck in your tea. So that'd be if you dunked a jammy dodger. No, 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 no.
Well, jammy Dodgers probably shouldn't eat them anyway. I mean, that they are just don't get jammy Dodgers. But custard creams should absolutely be dunked. I mean, that's the purpose of a custard cream. Whether it's tea, whether it's coffee, just dunk it. That works, and it just softens that hardness a little bit, and the cream goes even creamier. And the cream, it's not real cream. It doesn't actually melt into your hot drink. So I no, we are continuing to disagree quite strongly on this
Yeah,
subject,
we
aren't we?
are. I don't,
The
and I
the
don't think not
only
either of us is willing to budge.
the only sort of crossover I can offer is a chocolate bourbon. I would
Okay.
definitely dunk a chocolate bourbon, which counts. Does that count as dunking a chocolate biscuit?
No, interesting. I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I said chocolate biscuit, I was specifically referring to ones
Then to
with some
chocolate
kind of
covered.
chocolate
Mm.
coating. But
Yeah, and I
yes,
think I
I suppose. Okay, I'm going to concede. I can go with dunking the bourbon again. It's all about the technique. I think that's the takeaway. It's got to do with the technique on the
yes,
dunking. Yeah.
you do not want things falling off into your tea. And in fact, and now here's a slightly odd thing that I can tell you, is that cheese dunked in tea is not good.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
No, no, I guess it's not really a surprise. A colleague of mine was bringing around her snacks plus a cup of tea each doing my day job. And what she didn't notice was she had kind of a stick of cheese and a bit of it fell off when she tried to push through the door. And what neither of us knew at the time was that it landed in the cup of tea she gave me.
Of
And
course
I
it
was
did.
going,
Not the one that she had.
of course. And I was going further down this cup of tea thinking, this seems really greasy, sort of fatty. There's kind of sheen on top, and it was getting worse as it went on. And I thought maybe the milk's off. But my colleague was drinking tea with milk and she didn't comment on it. I thought, I'm getting really sort of over fussy in my old age. I don't know what's. And it was only when I got quite low down the cup that I discovered this lump of melting cheese in the bottom of it. So, yeah, don't dunk cheese in tea.
No, to be
That's
honest,
my advice for the day. And I think it's excellent life advice.
I think so too. And I also think that
Yeah.
was a sackable offence, if I'm being completely honest. Serving up cheesy tea. No, that's a big fat
Gross
no.
misconduct. Yeah.
So I think we're covered off on dunking there. We
I think
disagree, but we do agree that no cheese in the tea.
definitely no
So
cheese.
let's talk about eating etiquette. How to eat a biscuit. Do you scrape all the chocolate off? Do you nibble around the edges? And I'm just going to say it. I think no. Used to
Um,
when I was a kid. I used to dissect a bourbon quite happily. And the only one that I think probably still an exception to that is like a Kit Kat, maybe. Might be tempted to nibble
sorry,
around the
what?
edges. But no, the thing is, I'm going to park it, Kirsty, because I think Kit Kat is a whole different category of
That's
biscuit.
a Kit Kat isn't a biscuit.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
chocolate
Okay.
bar.
Well,
Yes.
Oh, interesting. To me, it's like a generous biscuit, but it's coming into the individually wrapped classification section, which is not really what we're talking about. Biscuits that you get in a packet, as in when you open it, the biscuit
Yes.
is there. There's no further unwrapping to be done. So I think that's a whole different category of biscuit, and we haven't quite factored that into this
That's something.
conversation because then we'd have to talk about clubs and penguins
Oh,
and
we're
all the
getting back
other
into
kind
the
of.
whole chocolate flavour thing now.
Oh
Let's
no,
not go there.
exactly, and that
No,
would just
wrong.
exactly. So we're gonna keep it back
Let's
onto
park. That's
normal
some,
biscuits, shall we say?
that's something to disagree on another time. Yes.
Yeah, no, we'll keep it onto
I'm
normal
mildly intrigued about how you eat a Kit Kat in layers, but anyway, another time. Yes.
Well, to be honest, I don't anymore. I definitely used to. I don't know whether it's like a kids thing that you to make it last longer, or you just like to taste all the different bits. But now I'm like, no, it's kind of meant to be eaten in its entirety.
Yeah. What
Oh, I
the
have
just
just got to
shove the
mention.
whole thing in?
Well, no, because then it goes too quickly, doesn't it?
This is true. This is true. Yes. And you miss
I
out on
have
so
to.
much when you just shove it all in and you can't even chew it properly. And yeah.
I know I said I was going to park the wrapped classification section, but you're going to have to forgive me because it's popped into my head and I feel like I have to share it. It's like I'm duty bound because I think it's for everyone's
Okay.
benefit and for yours, Kirsty. I have found a new favourite wrapped biscuit. You would call it a bar. I mean, this one is big. That's what I love about it. It's a
Oh,
proper
okay.
mouth filling one. You know, when you were a kid, a whisper was like the size of your mouth, and
Yes.
now it's about half the height.
Oh,
This one is still like the full height of the original whisper. It's called Dare. It's almost like
oh,
it's daring you to eat it. That's what I take it as a dare. Can you finish one of these in one go? And it's a
yes.
thing of beauty. It really is. It's a dark chocolate wafer bar, and it's got really nice distinct layers in it of a dark chocolate kind of cream in between. It's
Oh,
like a really, really superior Kit Kat. That's the only way I can describe it. And it is marvelous. So if you see one, get it. You
I'm on a
won't regret
mission
it.
now.
Yeah, do look for it.
How long till we finish? I need to go and look for a dare.
Yeah, sorry. I just say I bought one on a whim. I was looking at this was in a supermarket that perhaps should not be named. I don't know. It was in the meal deal section, and I was looking for the item to complement my, the main and the
Yeah.
drink. And I was like, what should I get as my snack? Should go for something healthy like a pot of melon, but I was found myself gravitating
No.
towards the chocolate section. And this guy came over and I was looking at it. I picked one up and I was looking at it and he said, "These are great." And he literally scooped up the rest of them and went to the tip. And I was like, right, that's my cue to give this a whirl. And he was right. He was definitely right.
Oh, I should be looking out for those.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, apologies for that tangent. We were going to eating etiquette. And to be honest, I think what we've landed on is that if you tamper too much with the biscuit, you're going to lead to excess crumbage, which is
Yes,
basically biscuit wastage and therefore criminal. So don't do it.
absolutely. On
Yeah,
this, we are in total agreement. And can I just
yeah,
say that crummage is a most excellent word?
it is, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
that soggy crummage at the bottom of your cup due to inexpert or inattentive dunking is definitely to be avoided.
Yes, definitely. Right. Quantity versus quality. Let's
Oh,
be honest, ideally we want both, don't we? We
yes.
don't shortchange me on the fancier biscuits in the packet. Do you know what?
No.
The fewest I found in a packet now is six. Six biscuits in a packet. So I think calling it a packet is a push. I think it's more
Yeah.
like a ration of biscuits. I think that's what you'd call that, wouldn't you?
Yes. I mean, I would call that criminal, but maybe that's a little bit strong. But yes,
Yeah.
six, that's not a packet of biscuits. That's a
No.
portion.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Not a ration, a portion. But you know what? I say that, and the only way I can excuse it is that I might take one deeply satisfying large plush biscuit over three below par, in my opinion, biscuits. So like the Nice biscuit, whatever you want to call it, if you offered me a pile of three of those versus, like the Fox's chocolatey round, I'm going to go for the chocolatey round, I think. Or I'm afraid, Kirsty, I'd put custard creams in that bracket because to me, they just don't fill you up at all. They don't register when I eat a custard cream, poof, gone. Where did it go? I don't remember eating
Maybe
it.
you need to dunk it.
I think it would just vanish even quicker. I mean, it's pretty sort of, it disintegrates pretty quickly regardless. And I think if I dunk it, it's going to evaporate before I even eat it. That's what I think.
Uh, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this. And can I just also say, three custard creams? This is what you're doing wrong. You
Oh,
don't eat custard creams in odd numbers. I mean, if you
oh,
noticed a lot, very often, not always, but mostly custard creams come in packets with sort of two columns of biscuits, and you
yes,
cannot
yes.
leave them uneven. You have to eat them in twos.
This is true because actually, then it's a pain to wrap it back up. When you've
Yeah.
got an uneven stack, it's just a nightmare. And that's the other thing. You must store your biscuits properly in between. People who open a packet and then leave it open in the cupboard and wonder why your biscuits have gone soft the next day, unforgivable. You must seal your biscuits back up or eat the lot. I mean, that's the only
Yes.
way to avoid that issue.
Yeah. I mean, I am quite a fan of the approach of eating enough biscuits that there's enough wrapper to fold underneath so that you can then rest them on top of themselves or sort of push them up against the wall or something. So that, I mean, that counts as proper sealing as far as I'm concerned, but I generally prefer just to eat all the ones that are left. But
Yeah.
yes, custard creams, in fact, this has come to apply to any biscuit. You always have to take an even number. In fact,
Okay.
I met a member of my team that I used to manage several years after I left. And she said, at work, we still remember what you taught us. And oh, that's so lovely. I feel like I'm kind of a mentor. And she looked at me and said, always take two biscuits, one for each hand.
Brilliant. Is that like your best piece of worldly wisdom?
Yes, yes, it is. That's why I make a good coach because you don't give advice as a coach.
Yes, yes. I love it, except for a biscuit in each hand. Brilliant.
Yeah, that
Brilliant.
yeah, that's all I've got for you. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, there we go. I think we've spoken at length about our love of biscuits and shown just how much we care about them as much as coaching. So today's completely serious question for you all to answer is what is your top biscuit? And then Kirsty, you added, and I love this. What does it say about you? And the truth is, if you don't have a favorite biscuit, I think you must do some research immediately to be able to
oh
answer this
yes,
question.
buy several packets and test them all,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
even numbers of each, of course.
yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, also your first taste may not be your ultimate decision. So yeah,
Yeah.
have the second one to confirm first
Yeah,
impressions.
and dunking or not dunking. So you might need to have four
Yeah,
of
that's true.
each because you could try, just two, got to get over that first impression thing and then dunk one in coffee, dunk one in tea, see how you do.
So I think people probably get an idea. Well, we've said what our favourite biscuits are,
Yeah,
but what do they say about us?
indeed. Well, I mean, and completely seriously, I would say that with a custard cream, that mix of hard biscuit and softer filling says that I can take the rough with the smooth, that I'm willing to look for the softness in hard times, that I have a soft heart, but I can be hard when I need to be. Also, I withstand quite a lot of dunking.
I'll take
How
your
about
word
you,
for that bit.
Catherine? What does the
Well,
dark chocolate digestive say about you?
um, I'm not sure it says that much, to be honest. Well, okay, there we go. I'll say it's slightly sweet and savoury flavour, if you notice on the flavour of a digestive. So therefore, it's more than one dimensional, more than meets the eye.
Hmm.
And I think the dark chocolate is a bit more edgy than your milk chocolate. But let's be honest, I am neither edgy nor particularly complicated. So
Maybe not in your own eyes.
yes, okay, fair enough. Right, there we go. I think we've said quite a lot about biscuits, but we'd love to hear your views as well. So please do feel free to get in touch and let us know your thoughts on dunking, etiquette, the quantity versus quality, and your top biscuit.
Absolutely. And we very much hope you've enjoyed our April the 1st episode of Mission Imperfect, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Mission Imperfect. We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of our episodes, especially if you've had a light bulb moment in answering one of the questions, have benefited from one of the tips, or have a suggestion for an episode topic.
And if these conversations have made you curious about how coaching could help you, please don't hesitate to get in touch with one or both of us to find out more about what we offer. Until next time, keep being imperfectly you. No one does it better.